Welcome back to the Reggies podcast. You're here with three blokes. Could have been anything. Decided to have fun instead. Boys, a bit of a different setup this morning.
Yep.
We are in the bar. We've got our barrel bars out. We're in front of the TV.
We're literally doing what we say at the start of the show. We're having fucking fun instead. And I hope all of you legends are too. You're right in the guts of silly season right now.
Fucking oath.
As this episode's out. And as the intro also says, Hodgson lassoed by Tallis. It fits this show perfectly because we're going to have a bit of a yarn today about the different NRL and AFL eras and our favourite ones at that.
Reminisce
some iconic moments and just talking about a couple of the games that we love.
We're also in here slaving on a Saturday.
Slaving.
For not even single time.
No.
Don't worry about
fucked.
double time, time and a half.
No.
We're not even getting single time.
Love. That's what we're
Not
here
time
for.
and lieu, nothing.
I got up this morning. It's Derby Day, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
I got up this morning and went, oh, fuck's sake, I've got to go to work.
Yeah.
I've been called in.
I've been called in on Derby Day to go in and have a fucking punt and record a few episodes for Christmas time.
Yeah, what a shocker.
Tough. It's a tough gig.
It is. It sucks. But yeah.
No, we just thought we'd fucking get in here. We're doing a couple of cricket ones as well, but we thought we'll just have a bit of a reminisce about some great moments. We're pretty much on the hunt to find when the honey hole was in NRL history.
Yeah.
Same with AFL.
We didn't want to go and just give all you cockroaches a fucking absolute grubbing like we are going to do in the Ashes episode to the Poms. We wanted to try and find something that we could talk about, something that everyone can relate to. And
Together.
I reckon that trying to find when the absolute peak era of rugby league.
Of rugby league watching
was.
for the fans that just had a bit of everything about
Yep.
it.
And then also on the back of that, the peak era of the AFL, which I'm tipping is probably around the same-ish time, you know?
I think we'll all be on a pretty similar
The
wavelength
game's changed
here.
that much in the last 10 years even.
Yeah.
That, yeah, it's gotten to a point where you go, you know what? It is still good to watch and viewership is up and all that. But
And obviously, there's these superhumans that are playing the game
That's
now,
right.
but they all are. And I think it's more the rules and the way the world's going, which is taking away from some of the things we have all learnt to love about each game.
exactly right.
So,
Every
Exactly
sport
right.
has it.
so pretty much, mate, we're all born in the night. You're born in the 90s, aren't you, Jace? Or are
No.
you?
No.
You
I'm
2000?
over
Not
three,
even
mate.
fucking
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, fuck, right.
Nowhere near.
So, Groper and I obviously born 94,
Yep.
Jace 03. So, a lot of these things we'll talk about is just shit that we've seen and heard and yarns that we've heard and stuff as well when we're talking about eras. I can't say I've watched a lot of these times happen.
We definitely can't say we've watched anything in the 80s.
No, but pretty
don't
much
have time machines, no.
starting on the 80s, though, this is before sports science was even fucking thought about.
Yep.
You know, and it pretty much the 80s, if I'm not wrong, is just like, that was just pretty much everyone pulled out of a pub or whatever, and it was just the best fucking footy players at that time.
Natural
And
ability.
Whoever had
just
a little bit of
abil-
natural.
That's
Yeah.
right. And they just come in and it was just the best fucking players of that generation. And it's not like they didn't drink piss, and it's not like they fucking had a training schedule that they stuck to repetitively.
It was
or
probably
whatever.
an era where us three may have had it shot.
We could have.
Yeah.
If we were tough as fuck,
Yeah.
we might have had a chance.
But obviously, imagine how good that would have been to watch as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was just on.
Yeah.
Fucking, it was just about toughness. Whoever had the most bit of grit in them
Yeah.
and
No such
mongrel,
thing as a
intimidation. No,
You had to buy the paper to read about shit.
no, that's right.
People would roll into Lang Park with you were allowed to have one carton. And everyone was like, oh, what the fuck? Only one.
You could take a carton to the cricket.
People, I've heard yarns of people's old boys and that having a loaf of bread that they'd cut out and put a bottle of rum in there and say, nah, mate, I've just got me bread to take to the game. Like,
But it was pretty much
Some wild
toughness.
shit you got away
Toughness was everything there, though. Hey?
Yeah.
especially for forwards.
Yeah.
Like, that is just literal props.
Yeah.
And all their ability was, are you a big cunt who can run hard? Be prepared to die at 50.
And this
That's
was all
CTE.
proper two
They didn't know
centres
what
on the
CTE
one
was.
side sort of shit still. Like, as in two centres on one side.
Yes.
You had an inside centre, you had an
that's
outside
right.
centre.
The
and
game structure-wise was completely different.
completely
There wasn't any
different, mate.
structure.
The way they passed and kicked and everything.
Yeah,
it
like
looks
you-
like under 12.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that when I was a kid, the first thing you get taught was point your guns. Point your finger guns when you pass the ball. Those boys are doing nothing. It is just chuck it out there.
Yeah, it's like...
That's not to, like, you know, knock some of the skills some of those blokes had back in the day.
No, that's right. It was just a totally different game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, if you look back and watch. And like we said, it's not like we can say, oh, I remember that time when fucking like this happened in the grand final, because I wasn't even a thought in a nutsack yet.
Imagine if a guy like Mike Acevo or something rocked up to play.
And they said,
the
yeah, I'm
damage
a
he
winger.
would do.
But imagine if he said to them, yeah, I'm a winger. They would have said, harden up, cunt, you're front row.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you're playing 80 in the front row.
Yeah.
Like a player like Carrigan, it would still be an absolute workhorse now. But half of the Broncos team, if they showed up with nail polish and ripped sleeves and TikTok dances, well, phones weren't even a fucking thought back then, like touchscreen phones.
Imagine what some of those Bronx old boys would think of what fucking Walsh and Ezra and that. Oh,
yeah, they would
probably some of them would
2
think
cents.
fucking good on you, Ezra, at the moment, except for the crash part.
Yeah.
We used to do that all the time.
Yeah. But I suppose, like, back then, there probably wasn't as much structure or set plays. There might have been set plays and stuff like that, but I suppose the professionalism and the sports science and people who are actually really committed to fucking being the best possible athlete they could have been, you know?
Yeah.
The set plays was a dog tip, and that's about as far
But
as it got.
the thing is, though, with the NRL specifically, the AFL is a lot different with their sports science and what they do off the field because they have to be proper athletes running over 10K a game.
Yeah.
Easily.
But with the NRL, one thing that has definitely stuck and stayed is drinking beer after the game.
Yeah.
Like, they do it after an origin and then back up and play 2-3 days later.
Yeah.
They do it after games. Like, that has always stayed, which I love because
That's just rugby league.
the AFL would have done it back in the day, but now because you have to be so fucking athletic and fit, like not drinking is a proper thing.
So even some now, though, don't still. Like, as in the NRL. They might have one or two.
I know.
But it's
definitely not frowned upon.
No.
Whereas it is in the AFL.
Yeah, right.
And
so they don't
modern
even
day, I don't know if AFL players are just better at hiding it, but it seems to not get into the media as much.
Well, no, the
playing
cameras go into the sheds after the game, and they've always got piss for
Yeah,
the league.
Yeah.
Whereas
At least a can or two.
BT off Channel 7 goes and does roaming Brian and fucking
Drinking
interviews
oat
every
milk.
cunt, and no one's drinking.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
So I like
Gatorade
that
shells.
stayed, but a lot of the other stuff has definitely not. I tell you who has got some fucking stories of drinking after Origins and backing up and playing is Andrew Johns.
Oh, fucking hadn't he? And that's why he's in the RLC.
That's why he's
man.
the halfback, because he was just possibly the best player other than Jonathan Thurston we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he was just the biggest Reggie ever.
Oh, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
I feel like you head into the 90s here, and like I said, early 90s, still in a sack, still before being in a sack. But I feel like that's when you started to get some players who might have taken it more seriously and been a lot fitter and really understood the game. Blokes like Laurie Daly and stuff like that, who
Randy.
exploited the blokes who were still the pub rats, who were just the best in their position sort of thing. So you started to see these blokes come through who were like ahead of the game and they were playing up against people who were still not at that calibre.
So
Brisbane and Canberra were probably the two that really exploited that, I'd say.
Yeah, the Bronx come in 88 and they won, I think, 4 premierships in the 90s.
Yep.
So, and then one in 2000 as well. So, like, they were just a powerhouse in that era. I reckon, like, we'll probably go backtrack a bit here. Where the game changed for me, and this is not just because, obviously, I support the Broncos, when Wendell Saylor became a winger, he was the norm for a winger. He changed the game. He changed the wing position because he played like a fucking third front rower.
Yeah.
But he played on the wing. And when Darren Lockyer made fullback like a second 5'8".
Yeah, well, I've got a couple of things there, and we can talk about it now because it doesn't fucking matter what we talk about first or last. But I've got a couple of those about who's set the blueprint and changed it of positions. And like you said, I reckon Lockyer started that blueprint for the fullback thing, and then Billy Slater fucking drove the cunt home.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, like, and then that changed. And I also think in the lock position, so old school lock, straight away for me, blueprint old school lock, Dallas Johnson.
Yeah.
That cunt just stood in the middle and tackled his whole...
Looks like a winger.
tackled his hole out
with his head.
And even Paul Gallen to a point, like he wasn't a ball player. He was just like a fucking mongrel in the middle. I think the bloke for me who started to change it was Corey Parker. I feel like he might not have been as good with the ball skills, but I feel like he created a lot of second phase play.
Yep.
Like that link
Offloads.
between offloads, like links to the middle, and they'd have a set play set off the back of his offload to him and started off.
But it wasn't until the back end of his career, because early on he was that little bit of mongrel.
He was like a fine wine.
And then he became a
crazy
silver
is it?
fox.
How fucking ugly he was when he was 20.
He literally looked like Shrek.
Looked like Shrek, and all he did was get fucking hot and good at footy.
Everyone's mum wanted to shag Corey Parker.
And their missus.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. But no, it's like a few of those sort of positions changed over the years and evolved with the game sort of thing. And people saw that it worked and then obviously started to bring people in. Like rarely now with a lock are you going to have another front rower because you missed that link.
Yeah,
it means that the halves are one more position in and they don't get to exploit the edges like you do now with that link.
Yeah.
Because the game's become more structured and it's about using the footy and it's not just truck and seed. And like wingers are now truck and seed at your own end and your lock is a third pivot at times.
Like
as well
blokes like Brian Toto and how the Panthers have done it, man, is a perfect example of using those wingers early in the set where your big boys are still making it back. They're running like a fucking dead set front rower, man.
Do it so well. They call Toto the best winger in the game.
Yeah.
Not because of his finishing, not because of anything other than he runs for 230
There
metres.
is no player that has that sort of value.
It hurts me to say.
Yeah.
Because I just don't like
But it's just
Coates's good out of his own end as well, but
the big emu.
Big emu, so upright, it gets shifted.
It just makes sense. It just makes sense though, doesn't it? Is using those players for that thing.
Yeah,
it means that your middles are fresh. They're not sprinting back to fucking have that shit carry.
Yeah.
I love getting back after defensive set and just being like, you can fucking run out of the own end. I'll wait till third or fourth.
Wait, we've said this before, but it used to be that shit when you were there. The winger's just been tackled.
Take a scoot!
Forwards are getting back on side. There's not one bloke for you to pass it to anyway. And everyone's just yelling, scoot! Just scoot it! And the defensive line's just going,
D defender is just honing in like a heat-seeking missile.
And all you're doing is tucking it under the armpit
just getting fucking rissoled. Yeah, 100%.
And then just elbows in your face from fucking one Tommy Kelleher.
For
the Wallabies.
Yeah, he'll be in later the grub.
Yeah, the grub. Looks like Mick
I suppose it's a hard one for me to pinpoint exactly which point in time it is. But I feel like the absolute honey hole for rugby league was when...
Not just rugby league, AFL too.
Well, AFL too, but I feel like it's when these blokes... You had the sports science coming in. You had these athletes who were professionals now, like proper professionals. This was their fucking job, and they hooked in, and it was everything to them. I feel like when they all started to really mesh together, and they were all the peak of their abilities, but the rules hadn't changed much yet.
Yep.
And it was still the old school rules. You had those few years there before the game started cracking down on a lot of these things.
Yep.
I reckon that would have been the best viewing over all of it. Because you had these athletes that the best of their ability with the old school rules.
Was it probably the decade from 2000 to 2010?
I reckon.
It has to be mid-2000s, I reckon. That is perfect middle ground of like old school, bit of unstructure, like players' positions weren't fully revolutionised yet.
Yeah.
And you got to see a bit of structure start to come in, but they didn't have the fucking like just utter woke nonsense of shit today. And like that was for me.
That's what we're getting at.
Yeah, sport at its purest forms. And it wasn't woke bullshit. And you still had some structure coming in. Like it was both games, both codes were at their best.
And I also think there wasn't as much, like there's no bunker. There's no review and shit. It was whatever the ref saw and whatever was completely obvious.
We had benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, just that sort of shit. Well, Groper, you always talk about like being a traditionalist, right? With like the DRS stuff with the cricket and the umpires being in there. It's almost the same sort of thing with rugby league. It's like whatever the umpire or whatever the ref saw out there sort of thing. It might have been wrong, but it just flowed on more. Yeah. And it was just like blokes wouldn't just lay down because they wouldn't know that a review would come. Yeah. They'd fucking get up with a sore jaw.
And like sometimes it didn't go sometimes it didn't go your way, but it also sometimes went your way. It was just like literally benefit of the doubt.
But that's what creates the conversations too. Is when you get the controversial things where 50% go, that's a try, and the other 50 go, he didn't get that down. And it's like, but the ref said.
Yeah.
And you always get taught to cop what the ref sees or the umpire sees.
But, mate, even those times, right, like even the Origin series back in the day, you watch all the highlights and stuff. Obviously, I can't remember these times, but it was like a fight is happening. 100% it is happening. When is it happening? Might be the first scrum. Might be something. The refs knew. Every cunt knew. You kicked off and she was on. There was blokes one-on-one scattered everywhere.
Let's watch one.
Yeah, let's watch one. It'd die down, and then the worst that'd happen is...
MCG brawl.
The worst that'd happen is a bloke from each team probably gets sent for 10, and then the boys get on with it.
This is the original cattle dog call.
Nah, this is not. I don't think
Joey,
this is
isn't Tommy Rodonicus telling Joey to go in and he gets absolutely slept?
Is it 95 that happened?
Oh, is that what's his name? Who dropped fucking Johnsy?
Oh, I think it is this game.
Was it Matt Singh?
Goddard?
No, Goddard. Yeah. It was Goddard. Just hit him right in the
This
button.
is when we had our worst fucking team because of the whole Super
Yeah,
League
but look at the
bullshit,
score.
and we still, exactly.
Fatty Vorton was coaching and we won 3-0. But
I've got a good one for you to show after, AFL related.
This is proper, like, paired off.
Yeah. Look at even the era we're talking about. Here's Gary Larson.
Yeah.
Look at the jerseys and shit, boys. This is what the 3/4 sleeves.
Yeah.
Yep. Billy Moore.
Oh, it is just on for young and old.
Hopper Singh throwing them.
Hopper trading digits for fists.
Look at it, just 1v1s everywhere.
Yeah. You just found someone and you just went for it. Paul Harrigan.
The old shoulder pads.
Look at it. Nothing's connecting.
No, they are throwing.
Oh, but just
So good.
I remember Groper and I, right, when we used to like go over each other's places as young fellas, we'd quite often look at like highlights of this like rugby league and fucking state of origin and stuff like that, and some of the filth that went on and just got let go with elbows on the ground, like all this shit. You had to be a proper tough cunt to play this and know you were going into battle, eh?
Big time.
This
There was
must
no
be
little. I don't want my little
What
Johnny.
year is this, Gropes?
95.
95. So yeah,
It's
this
not
was.
quite.
I've got a good one.
So this is like still before the skillful side really started to come in, where these blokes were doing pretty
Structure
freakish
wasn't
stuff.
really implemented yet.
Why was it not just the fight? I just want the fight, not the highlights.
You talk about like early on, you just pick someone. AFL was perfect for it because it was your man-on-man matchup. 2004 grand final, Alistair Lynch and
What
was his name? Wakeland, Dale Wakeland.
Here we go.
Just
What do we got
teeing
here?
Off.
The Wakeland. Watch this for an absolute.
This is
fucking-
Lions have just gone 3 in a row
They won 01, 02, 03,
Yep.
and this is 04 grand final.
before the game.
No,
This was before the game. The centre bounce, wasn't it?
I don't think. I think it was the game was going, but I could be wrong.
I thought it was centre bounce because they walking over the speed.
Alistair Lynch has announced his retirement already.
Yeah,
They
He's
just-
retiring after the grand final, and he just goes.
I don't think centre bounce happened yet because they just.
Oh, they're into us.
Yeah, but no one lands a fucking thing.
Oh, a few stray fucking
love
skims
it.
off the dome. Oh,
And then they just go back to just mark each other.
And then it's all
Umpires let
good.
it happen. All good. Game plays on. Port win.
fuck.
Going back to positions, just quickly, we'll go to the AFL.
Yeah.
How much has the full forward and centre half forward position changed, Jace? Like it is just. It used to
absolutely.
be just a big pig, big strong cunt
Yep.
parked
Yeah,
in the
parked
50.
up front.
Exactly. Perfect. Gary Ablett Senior.
Yeah.
A bloke like that.
Jason Dunstall.
Dunstall.
Kicked
perfect
1,200
example.
goals. Tony Lockett.
Tony
And
Lockett is literally the epitome of that
He
position.
could kick him from 55, and he was that big and strong. Just kick it to me, one-on-one
Yep.
with me defender, and I'll catch it.
Yep.
And
And now it's completely changed. You
We'll
get
never
this
ever
athletic
see
bloke. You
a
don't kick drop
person-
punts anymore.
You'll never see a person kick, unless the game changes again in 50 years, but 100 goals in a season for a full forward was not out of the question.
Yeah.
Like if you could kick
Yeah.
them straight, you'd have 200 chances to do it.
Would it be like similar to basketball in a way where you have that big cunt under the hoop?
Yeah.
That you'd sort of just pass it to. A similar sort of method.
2008, sorry, was the last time anyone kicked 100
Bloody.
goals. And Have you seen what they do?
Yeah, run onto
the field.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll see that.
And I don't think we'll ever see it again. But
No.
Jason Dunstall did it multiple times, you know.
Yeah.
Tony Lockett did it multiple times.
That era of full forwards, people say it's the best.
Yeah.
But you're right. Those positions, the forward line positions, have completely changed. Because back in the day, it was just, small forwards, lead out, create space, and crumb.
Yeah.
And let your big forwards just do the job and the goal kicking. That's purely the purpose was for. And now it is completely changed. Full forwards, you don't see him kicking over 60, 70 a year.
That's why what Lance Franklin did throughout his career
remarkable.
was so unreal.
He was that, we talk about that middle ground and
he was the
segue
segue for
He
sure.
was absolutely the segue for 2 errors and he did it for so fucking long.
Yeah.
So it's insanity what he did.
No one will kick 1,000, I don't think, again. And no one will kick 100 in a season.
Has any other positions
way.
got the opportunity to change much, do you think? Like,
I
obviously, that's one that's a definite. But is there any other positions in AFL that could...
Well, on the other end of the scale, the backman.
Exactly.
You have to be... You're getting 30 disposals a game now if you're playing in the back line.
A perfect example is what Geelong did with Tom Stewart. So he's a halfback. They keep him on that 50 line and... Back in the day, it was just, you mark the centre half forward, you mark the full forward, and you just stay on them. And now, someone like Stewart is getting freedom to move forward into the midfield as well on the ball and just be involved in everything like an extra midfielder can and just go for pretty well on every man, spoil and intercept mark. It is just, it feels like they're giving each position so much more freedom.
Yeah.
Rather
They
than
almost
just stick to your one-dimensional style
They
of
almost
play.
play in zones.
Exactly
and
right.
they don't just mark a player.
Yeah.
And, if you can have that player behind the ball that can ball play as well as in front and in the midfield, it just opens it up for so much more opportunities.
And the games will just constantly change.
You have to do it, though, because the way that... I wonder who started... I'm sure we could work it out, but who started the let's just fucking swarm the contest? Like, whenever there's a tackle and then a ball up, let's just put everyone there and make it just this scrappy fucking... Everyone's in the one spot rather than keep your players... You know what I mean? Like
These boys behind me.
They've almost tried to change with the six... Does the 6-6-6 rule still... Is it still in?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to have 6 players here, 6 players in the midfield,
so
6
you
players
can't
forward.
just-
So that's only for the centre bounce.
Pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
You can't just put all your blokes back.
Yeah.
If you're in front by 2 goals with a minute to go,
Yeah.
you have to have 6-6-6.
Yeah.
It would have, because I remember Dangerfield was a perfect example of the way that rule worked perfectly for him. Because if you just swarmed a zone, he would struggle. But off a centre bounce with that freedom, bang.
Yeah.
Fast running midfielders who could just get the ball straight down.
Because it got to
50.
it got to a point where you didn't need the big blokes at all.
No.
You just needed small little whippets.
Yeah, yeah.
And just swarm the contest, and you've got more of people there than they do.
Yeah.
Handball, kick,
Clear
swarm
it
the
out.
next one, and then kick like some scrappy fucking goal. And I would way rather early 2000s, even
Absolutely.
before then, where you've got the big full forward.
So you reckon it's
was
a bit
that
of a
perfect middle ground.
you reckon it's a similar sort of time period for AFL? Where
I think it's
sorta-
every sport.
Probably,
as
yeah.
like
it
it's a
probably
pure-
does make sense.
Yeah.
But this one's more of like a... When we're talking about the NRL, the rugby league, we're talking about rule changes that come in
Yeah.
that change the game.
Yeah.
Like, you had that period where all the rules were still there and the athleticism got better.
Yeah.
Whereas the AFL, they didn't really change too many rules.
No, it was
it's just the game changed because teams got coached to play like that,
Yeah.
and it worked. So every coach went, well, we obviously have to follow suit.
Well,
We
Coaching
all have to
styles.
play
Well, I
like
suppose,
Coaching styles change the game.
I suppose in a way, though, in the NRL, teams like the Melbourne Storm started fucking doing shit which made the NRL do. Like
Man.
some of the grappling and shit,
Do you know-
that's what forced a lot of these rules to come in. So
Yeah.
in a way, it was really the players in certain teams that made rules come in,
Yeah.
which then... Yeah, so in a way...
Do you know how many people fucking despise the Storm for
Oh,
that?
they fucking would,
Chicken
mate.
winging and
Yeah, yeah.
wrestling
Cam
and that.
Smith is just known as a fucking ultimate chicken wing.
Oh, they hate him down south.
But he would have just been told by the fucking people
Yeah.
coaching him, and he would have took it on board. And look, it fucking worked.
one
But
of
that
the
would have
successful teams
sparked.
ever.
But that would have sparked a lot of the way the rule changes sort of happen, and when grappling come in.
Yeah.
Like
Do
fucking.
you have like a favourite few games or game in mind that really you can remember?
Lockyer intercepting that ball.
06.
06. That is for me just
Start
I
of the 8 in a
remember
row.
being
Telstra
on the
Dome.
couch as a young cunt, just like this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that
For
was
me.
good. I
NRL.
reckon before that, when Tate
Oh,
in that same
Yes,
game.
absolutely.
2006 State of Origin Game 3.
do you know?
Well,
do you
we
know-
said we weren't going to do this with the Queensland thing.
We
but,
have to.
Oh,
this
well,
is
when you're
the
talking
perfect
about your
example of
favourite
that
things.
era.
Here, Tate will be the first highlight here.
Well, for me as well, Sattler, that cover tackle that he
Oh,
made.
yeah.
It's like when I decided to go for the Panthers, it was the start of that season. And then that for me is cemented as fucking one of the greatest tackles.
What,
Yeah.
This
Watch
is a bit
Thurston
later.
Here. Watch Thurston here. Dummy, step, away we go. And then
On the
B
treadmill.
Tate.
With the neck guard.
Oh,
Look at
just
his
breaks
face.
off.
Look at his face.
That's Queensland right there.
And then he
That's
goes,
Origin.
I got ankle tapped. No. And then
Fuck off,
we'll
man.
watch the put down. Just
Boss. Bang.
Yeah. Do you know what else was great? And that's why we put it, I think we all wanted it in our intro, is Hodgson getting lassoed.
Lassoed.
Can we put that
Yeah,
on?
yeah.
And that's what we're saying about the era thing. That does not happen anymore
lassoed by
because
Tallis.
jerseys are painted on.
Exactly
There
right.
was a
It's
lot of
wax.
slinging around back then. Getting
Absolutely.
Gordon Tallis tackle.
Gordy was one of those players who just wasn't meant for this time.
No.
Yeah,
No.
this is a perfect thing about the era chat, right?
If he played now,
well, some of
wouldn't.
his best features are irrelevant now.
fighting.
Yeah, like just intimidation though, like just being in your face on the field.
There it is.
Exactly.
Look at this. He just goes, come here.
Fucking let's go for a walk, son. Bang.
Look good he
You
is.
won't see that
Oh,
anymore.
man.
That doesn't happen.
And look at the cunt. As if you'd want to play
The
against
raging
him.
bull.
Literal raging ball.
Oh, you
Yeah.
know what I love about him now is that he's that loyal to his mates.
Oh yeah.
Says
That-
whatever the fuck he wants.
He will just back those cunts to the hills
Absolutely.
to the day he dies. Kevy could go he could have went 0 or 4 and 20 like next season. 4 wins, 20 losses, and Gordy would still blame the club.
He would.
Yeah.
He would back him to the hills, man.
But that
game
was a
that,
cool yeah.
It's a bit later on, but it's 2010, so it's just getting into a bit more of that modern rugby league. But do you remember that Roosters Tigers qualifying final?
Oh, this was when fucking
This was-
Simon Dwyer ironed out Rhea
Oh,
Hargraves.
dude, what a moment that is.
If you can find like the last couple minutes of that game,
Yeah.
because you had Jared Hargraves been shifted by Simon
Simon
Dwyer.
Dwyer.
Dude, I remember,
They'll only have
Jace,
one
I
highlight
was
this
watching that game live too, and I couldn't believe it because Waria Hargreaves was the man.
He was.
Yeah,
he was
he
coming
is.
through. he
Look
was
at the
a beast.
score.
And then following this up,
Oh! That is
he
massive.
drops it. Tigers
Yeah,
get a
look at him.
scrum.
Boy, that's send off now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
sent off nowadays.
Go, Jace, because I
Tigers
love
get the
the
scrum,
ending to this.
and they just have some fucking, I don't know.
Somehow the
some have a
Roosters
lapse.
win the scrum
win the scrum.
against the feed.
Frank
Wow.
Paul Nuwasala jumps straight on it, and then they have a bit of broken play. What's going on? Flicks it back. Braithen Astor kicks it from fucking 30-40 out. Makes
Braithen
it
Nastar
15 all.
field goal from like 40, like
Second rower,
off
Braith.
broken play too.
Yeah.
That's the ball's
It was
going
like
everywhere.
fourth, fifth phase.
Comes to him and he kicks it and just runs fucking.
Yep. And
throwing
then
the hand up.
98 minutes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It was in Golden Point
18
extra
minutes
time.
of extra time.
Fuck, that's
And they-
amazing.
Sean Kenny
mate.
Dowell intercept.
Do you
know,
Like,
I
that
don't
game
know-
was just fucking.
I don't know how I haven't got
Wage,
this written
man.
down, but the key the exact moment a piece of rugby league died for me personally was when the shoulder charge was brought out.
Yeah.
I was absolutely shattered because my whole juniors, all I wanted to do was fucking bury a sternum into the back of a bloke. My first year of senior rugby league, it gets canned.
no.
Yeah.
I was fucking spewing. Now, look, I understand why, but it took away some of the best highlights of fucking rugby league, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Sonny Bill, Dylan Napa, like
Yeah.
fucking some of these
He
blokes.
retired this year, eh?
Yeah.
He did.
Naps.
Who was it this game? The fucking front rower for
Man,
Roosters.
wasn't it
What was
just
his
some
name? Kane
iconic
Evans.
shots?
Kane
It-
Evans and
Yeah. This is good.
It's Big Roy Azatazi and Kane Evans.
Oh, no, it's Sam Cassiano.
Yeah,
Cassiano, that's right.
But yeah, some of the best shots and moments.
Bit more AFL related. The two games that, like, I'll put my bias aside from Geelong games. Favourite one's going to be premiership wins and whatnot. But 05, 06 grand finals. We talk about that perfect middle ground of the years of AFL.
This is that good.
And you have West Coast versus Swans, the famous Leo Barry intercept mark in 05.
Leo Barry, you star.
Oh, to win the Bloods their first premiership in like 70-odd years.
Yeah.
And then the sequel in 06 was just
better.
as fucking good. West Coast win by a point. That's peak Chris Judd and peak Benny Cousins.
Daniel
the bender
Kerr.
that they would have fucking went on afterwards.
Yeah. That was after they won that 06 premiership, the West Coast Eagles, that 07 season was when it all started going wrong for Benny Cousins.
And went all right for these boys right above me.
That was when the off season, there was all the media chat about what he's been doing. And he ended up not playing a game until mid 07, came back at the Subiaco and come off the bench and played the fucking game of his life.
He was a freak of nature,
I
man.
am back.
Absolute
but
freak.
I still stand by that if he didn't have the off-field stuff that he did, he would never have been as good. Because his whole purpose in life
philosophy
was to train as hard as he could so he could just annihilate gear at the end of it.
That is insane.
And
Jimmy
his mindset was like, I'm going to go as hard as I can for 4 weeks so that for a week after that, I can fuck myself up.
And still be all right.
Yeah. Crazy. It's good that he's come out the other end finally now. Like he's finally come out the other end. He works with footy and all that. And hopefully he has anyway.
Do you know what I think is another key moment in changing of just culture in both codes and everywhere in sports is smartphones.
Yeah.
Whenever the fuck that is, like middle of when we're probably high school groper, like that just changed what blokes could get away with as professionals because it just really started to document off-field shit.
Yeah.
Just dumb
Which
moments.
sucks for them because obviously everyone's entitled to do whatever they should want to do. Even if it's not something you agree with.
No, that's right. It's none of your business, is it?
Exactly. It's you do whatever you want. It's not my business.
Yeah.
Obviously it changes if you're like law enforcement and all that sort of shit. But as far as I'm concerned, I remember there was one year the Bulldogs got done because someone filmed them up on the balcony in a hotel room.
Yeah.
And they got in trouble for that on a Mad Monday. And it was like, hang on, you're in an
what
apartment.
are you meant to do?
Yeah, that's
You're
right.
at an apartment. You've done the right thing. You're not at a place.
Exactly.
They weren't doing any doing
Illicit
drugs or whatever. They were
substances.
literally just partying.
Yeah.
And they got done. For
Wait, what was the year the Johns brothers getting interviewed on Mad Monday?
97.
97. Well, there's the fucking peak.
Yeah.
Darren Albert
Right
tried
there,
the end
that
against Manly.
and they're getting filmed, and everyone's laughing at them. Then they're obviously off their lemon spread, and that was okay.
Yeah.
That was the peak of.
1997.
Just look up better than
Yeah,
Lego.
Let me just talk for a sec. Oh, better than Lego.
Yeah, like this is dead set, just fucking unreal. Look at them. This is it here.
Look at
Turn it
It
up.
was Newcastle's
Turn it
first
up,
premiership too, wasn't it?
Watch,
ARL.
watch Andrew come in at the end. He
Yeah.
is off his head.
And everyone thinks it's prime.
It was awesome.
It was.
It was in the midst of the Super League shit as well.
Yeah.
Look at them. They're pumped with it.
Look at him. Look at Joey. Watch Joey
Prince
come
of
back in
Newey.
at the end. He tries to say something and he can't even spit it out.
Look at him. He is just gurning.
Watch.
At least next Saturday, they're telling me about. We've got Andrew Johns in the background. Last year here.
Just not a thought behind the eyes.
That feeling coming home to Newcastle last night.
It was better than Lego. It was better than Lego.
One of the most
mate.
famous
Hang on.
lines.
I hope they get the part of Joey coming in at the end because he tries to spit out a sentence and he literally cannot.
Thousands of people lined up. You love it.
Ready?
What do you think of Newcastle, a lot of people were saying this has really brought the whole.
Imagine being the reporter.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. She's trying to hold a legit conversation.
Yeah, like I think we've had a lot of things going tough over the last bit of time.
Listen to the background.
I think it really sums up the mood here, Mel. I think
Ready?
it really sums it up. So, what we.
But see, like, and they're the old news and that, they're like, how good. The
Yeah.
boys are having fun.
Oh, man.
You know you need to get up
If that
now.
was today, there's no chance. Here it is.
Yeah, I think I've got the first privileged Newcastle.
Look at his eyes.
Oh.
But see, that's just a classic example. You can literally
bro.
show and see the people who work for these media companies like laughing and having a good time about it.
Get
And
up
it
some
just
of the
shows you.
Brownlow interviews.
Oh,
They
yeah.
are fucking class. Perfect
Yeah.
example of that. Well, Favola actually got in a bit of trouble for what he
Yeah,
did,
that
but-
was like where it all sort
Like,
of
and
turned,
obviously you see why, and it's like you can't celebrate them being off their guts, but it just shows you that they were allowed to party because it's normal to celebrate
Exactly.
after a win like that, and they weren't frowned upon or fucking drilled
Yeah.
about
They're
it. you know?
humans. They're human beings.
That's
Yeah.
what happens over in the States, though, and that's what we've followed, is that because over in the States, their celebrities are literally put on the highest of pedestal. People lose their minds when they see celebrities or sports players. Whereas if we saw fucking Jonathan Thurston in the street, we'd just go, "Hey, JT!"
Yeah,
put your
literally.
hand up and wave to the cunt, and
Yeah.
not even probably go over.
Well, we would.
I know, but
Yeah,
like, we wouldn't be fanatical over it.
Nah.
You know, like if we did, we'd go, "Hey, mate, like, nice to meet you."
Yeah.
Whereas those cunts need security everywhere. Like
Yeah.
even just a normal NBA player,
Exactly.
you can't do anything. Football player, you can't do anything over there, and that's sort of.
Actors, actresses, everything.
So that's why if they do something over there in the States that the media can jump all over, they fucking do it. That's why they're so careful about it. And we've gone the same way in the last fucking decade.
Yeah.
We've gone the exact same way rather than
Yeah.
stick to what we do, and we don't put them up so much higher.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
We respect them in that, but we don't go. Like if Chris fucking Hemsworth walked down the street in Gladdy, the only reason that people would swarm him is because the media would be all over it.
Yeah, exactly.
If normal people seen, they wouldn't.
They
they'd
might
go,
ask
"Oh,
for a
fucking hell,
photo
that's
or-
fucking Chris
There's
Hemsworth."
Thor.
yeah,
Can
how
I get
many
a photo?
times have you seen someone gone,
Show us
"Fuck,
your
mate,
hammer."
That's fucking this bloke. Yeah.
Yeah, whereas over there, man, they just need so much seckies and that. But anyway,
Dangerous
getting a bit
place.
off
It's
track there.
I suppose it's one of those things where you go, we're very fucking lucky in the quality of players we've got. Like,
Yeah.
as in the way the game is fucking amazing from a skill standpoint. It's just those things that you love about the game have been lost a little bit, which sucks. And unfortunately, they're not going to come back because of the safety stuff.
Yeah.
But I suppose looking at the positives, man, it's unbelievable where some of these athletes are and what they can do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's
the
fucking
athleticism
unbelievable.
of some of the players now is unbelievable. Like just the put downs in the corner.
Yeah,
you
like
look at
Crichton
that.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you showed a fucking winger that 30 years ago, they'd
Mate,
be like, that's
yeah.
not a human.
It's normal now to
Yeah.
just leap outside the field of play and be able to.
Great
put it
call,
down.
in my opinion, getting rid of the corner post.
Yeah, fuck
For sure.
yeah.
It's made for some great fucking put
What's going to happen here is you two are going to take over, and I'm going to go have a piss.
Okay.
Too
Tom,
easy, mate.
I got some questions he can flow back into.
Yeah.
I know your Penrith
Yep.
reason, I think it is, but I just wanted to ask the earliest memory you have of your teams that you support, and why you support them.
Literally, like I said earlier, the grand final that Penrith won. I think it was it 2003?
2000. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
2003.
So, like I've said a couple of times, but I'll say it again. My mum and dad went for St. George, whatever reasons.
Yep.
I think Dad, when he was a young fella, the Gladstone colours was a red V.
Yeah,
So-
Red Devils.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know what it was called, but yeah, that it was a red V for Gladstone.
Yep.
So Dad went for St. George because it was the same jersey sort of thing. I think Mum had whatever other reason. Anyway, I was just like, do I have to go for Dragons because you do? And they're like, no, you can go for whoever you want.
Yeah.
And back then, I didn't know what the fuck it meant.
You're
as
only
in,
like 7 years
as in,
old, yeah.
This is a Queensland team, this is that.
Yeah.
They just printed out all the things for me, and I just picked the Panthers because I thought they were cool.
Yeah.
And then the end of that year, like they had a good year, and ended up playing the Chooks in the grand final.
Yeah.
And this was like after me first year going for them,
Yeah.
and they fucking won the comp. And
Really
I still
cemented it for you.
Yeah, well, fuck me, bro.
Yeah.
Like, had Luke Rooney, Rooney on the wing,
Yeah.
fucking Craig
Sattler.
Geyer, I think, playing, and Pritis, Reese Wesser.
Yes, that's
like
right.
some of these dudes, man. It
was a good
who
team.
Were fucking
Great
guns,
team.
bro. So, yeah, man, that grand final just cemented them as my
Yeah.
team. It was perfect.
Mine's
how it
pretty
sort of
similar
worked
with
out.
Geelong.
Yep.
Like my earliest memories of sport is around that 2007. I don't remember the 2006 Broncos premiership. Broncos is simple. I'm a Queenslander and my old boy went for Brisbane, so I just stuck with that. But Geelong, my earliest memories was probably 2007 grand final.
Yeah.
And I'll call me a bandwagon, whatever you want, but you're 4 years old. You don't really give a fuck.
No.
That's why heaps
And-
of people support teams. Man.
Exactly.
It's
So
'cause
that
they've won at a certain
2007
point in
premiership, when I first started to really, because my family was all AFL. Before we moved out to Calliope, where it was rugby league, Dad played AFL his whole life.
Yeah.
My brothers would play AFL every weekend. I'd be there. We followed rugby league, but it was prominently we're an AFL family.
Yeah.
So I stuck with Geelong. I don't remember really picking them, but I know that it would have been because of the
Yeah.
2007 grand final. And literally after kindy, my grandmother's friend that used to look after me, crazy cat lady, proper crazy cat lady, had about 10 or 11 in her house. And I would have seen that, and she knitted me this little crocheted Geelong cat.
Yeah.
And like got me a scarf and that, and I went, fuck yeah, I've
Yeah.
still got it at home.
Well,
and
mate,
that really cemented it for me.
If Penrith didn't win that grand final that first year as a young cunt, who knows?
Yeah.
Because that was just this thing.
We
that
could
went,
all
well,
be
cool.
sitting here
Yeah.
hating it.
Exactly.
That's right.
But another thing for Geelong is probably Cameron Ling as well. Big ginger, best tagger of all time.
How the fuck was he an AFL
I don't know
player?
how he's good, but he was. But I would have seen a big ginger bloke. I had long curly hair back then too, and I've been like, yeah, that's me. I want to be him.
Mate, I used to love Reese Wesser.
Yeah.
He
was
was
your
a
favourite?
fucking... Well, like, it's weird now. Like, it's been a long time, but just me saying some of those players from that era.
It comes back
He
to you.
was a fucking gun, bro. Reese
Yeah,
Wesser.
yeah.
He really
I
was.
used just to play with him on
Rugby League
Rugby
two.
League
League
2 against
two.
Groper and just sprint round
Fuck,
everyone
that
with
was
him.
a good game.
Tom and I had some fucking Barneys playing that game.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously there's
Yeah, that'd happen. Yeah.
Because obviously it's a fucking PlayStation game from the early 2000s. There was
wasn't just
there was
early.
glitches all through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you'd throw a cutout and they'd catch it on the other side of the defensive line,
Yep.
and you just blow up every
In the
fucking
big
time.
fucking concrete shed stadium
But
you
then
could play
we
into.
spent a whole night once, did not sleep a wink, stayed up all night and played every minute of a whole season
Wow.
with a custom team that we made that had
Yeah.
all the best players.
That's what they were our all-nighters. We weren't fucking spray painting shit and fucking stealing stuff and rocking
No.
roos. We were playing fucking rugby.
Usually go out to his joint because he had the fucking 11 acres and motorbikes
Yeah,
and all that. And you'd have a fucking day or afternoon, you're on the PlayStation, and Rocket would come in and just stand at the archway of Tom's room and just stare at us, and we'd be already giggling, just kids giggling, knowing he's going to say something funny. And he'd just go, how the fuck do you two get back here so quick? I just flushed this down the toilet. And we'd already be laughing knowing what he was going to say.
Yeah.
Fucking
No, it was
funny.
good
Fuck.
stuff.
Talk about rugby league too. I have memory.
The
from-
game?
The game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
When
Great
I was
game.
about 7 or 8 years old, I was a real angry little cunt.
Funny that.
I've got it.
Angry little red cunt. And I used to play with my older brothers. You know, you'd always
Yeah.
want to hang out with them and their friends. And we were playing once, and a real close family friend of ours beat me. And he was trying to go easy on me, but I would just fucking blow up at games. I've walked off. He's going, where the fuck's he gone? I've come back with a butter knife and said, I'll kill you.
Oh, did ya?
Just because he beat me on rugby league too. I had the butter knife in my hand and I was like, I'll fucking kill you. My grandmother
hectic.
Margaret had to come in and be like, what the fuck? Get out of here.
Oh,
I
and
was steaming,
look, it just
bro.
goes to show you can't always go, well, we saw it at a young age.
Yeah.
Because look at him now.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
Hasn't
like
threatened
me.
to kill
I've
anyone in
actually got-
years.
I've actually got a great story about I could have possibly, if I didn't have a good upbringing, been a serial killer.
Both of us.
Used to go down to inland New South Wales, like Musselbrook, Singleton area. That's
same.
where me fucking grandma and grandpa lived, mum's side.
Yep.
And one year, the reason it happened is because their house, the back fence backed onto like a cemetery. Mm-hmm. And anyway, one year, I'm a kid. It's like the year 2000.
Here we go.
I've cleared out some land, like room out the back in like the veggie garden and started killing lizards and stuff and then making crosses and burying them.
Oh my God! Oh, fucking
Holy
G1
shit.
Dharma. That
That is literally how Jeffrey Dahmer's story started.
Wow.
And the old girl always says it was because obviously the cemetery was there.
Yeah,
You were like
yeah.
5 or 6
You're
years
interested.
old, and that was in your head. So
Holy
I started killing lizards and then making a cross and burying them.
That is heck.
So I
That's
could have
awesome.
my own cemetery.
Wow. That is fucking off.
So yeah,
track.
we're
Jesus.
well and truly off track now.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to hit you with a question that I thought of this morning on the way in. It's probably a simple one now, I'm thinking about it. But if you could only have 13 players of one position, like the best player in each position, but you could only pick one of them. So 13 halfbacks, 13 hookers, 13 front rowers. Which team would you pick, you reckon, and who'd be the best?
Wait, what?
So if you could only pick one of each position, like there's 13 of them.
Yeah.
So 13 halfbacks or 13 front rowers, which team would be the best, you reckon?
I'd say hooker.
You reckon 13 hookers?
Modern day, I'd have 13
13
hookers.
nines.
Because
Really?
they've got the ball playing skill. Some of them have the athleticism
Unless you're Cameron
nowadays.
McInnes.
Yeah.
You'd just be
You'd
kicking
have
it to the
him as
wing
well.
every time, wouldn't you?
Ball playing,
fucking
defensive
Toto does
skills,
all right.
Yeah.
or even a modern day lock maybe. But you've got ball
Like
playing
an
skills.
Isaiah Yo.
Yeah, you got ball playing skills, you got defensive ability, you got nut trucking ability, you got vision of the game.
I
I'd
reckon
have
it-
13 of
13
13 hookers.
9 is a great call.
I'd
Because
have
they can
13
kick
hookers.
as
They
well.
can kick,
Because
yeah.
that's the big one, is kicking.
Kicking's the biggest for me.
Like if you had 13 Harry Grants or like Damien Cook at the peak of his powers, 13 of them. But Cameron Smith style play is a bit different because he was just a fucking genius.
See,
of the
13
game, but-
Clearys would be fucking hard to beat too.
Very hard. But if you think of 13, like Yo can't kick.
No.
You know what I mean?
That's right. That's a big one.
They'd always be on the back foot defensively.
Yeah.
Because he can't kick. I reckon it has to be.
Oh, he
I-
set up a crossfield kick at the start of the year, didn't he?
Yeah, but it was terrible.
It was.
I reckon you got to be able to kick. So it's got to be like the 1, 6, 7, 9.
A spine position.
Or just 13 Greg Inglis's in his prime.
Or you know who
Oh,
can
dude,
kick?
That's a great point.
Yeah, true.
Imagine
he
that.
can
That
kick.
is,
Fuck
you would
me.
fear.
Like, what
that.
about 13 Matt Burtons?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Can play
putting up
wing, centre,
bomb.
5'8", full
The
back.
kicking would be very important. Huh?
Yeah, fucking oath.
Sure.
Look
No,
at
I just
Mitch
thought it'd be a
Moses, man.
weird thing, a different thing to talk about.
Yeah, no, that's good. What about
13 George Roses.
Fuck yeah.
yeah, that'd be good for
You'd
7
need-
minutes.
Yeah, you'd need 30.
No good for the
fucking
canteen.
Number 20s.
What about, this is just putting you on the spot, most angry you've ever been while watching a game?
2014 Origin, I reckon.
Yeah, when Ferguson threw it 3 metres forward into Tedesco and they scored.
2019 or
That-
18 or
That one pass to seal it really,
it's got to be
really
it's
hurts me.
probably an Origin moment. eh?
yeah.
When they broke the streak with the show and go, Hodgkinson.
Yeah, 2014.
Fucking, I remember
I hadn't-
exactly where I was.
My memories of Origin, I hadn't known what it felt like to lose a series yet. So I see that, and you've got blokes like Jared Hayne, Stewart Brothers, Anthony Watmo. Like, this was peak my angry, like, stab you if I lost a game of fucking Rugby League 2 era.
Yeah,
So I was
Groper's
angry
burial
little cunt.
stage sort of shit.
Exactly right, burial stage. So I was, looking back on it now, I probably wouldn't have been as angry, but pure anger I felt. Losing our Origin series in game 2, I started bawling my eyes out. I was like, I didn't
Yeah.
know what it felt like to lose
meant that
Origin. I
much,
was
right.
like 8 or 9 year old. This is fucking horse shit. Like that's it. And I was so furious at the fucking
Yeah.
Stewart Brothers and Anthony Watmo especially.
I think
God,
it's-
fucking hated
Imagine
that.
the poor, like the Blues boys, right? Those poor cunts over
Oh,
that
yeah.
period of like
Yeah.
our age. We didn't know what it was like to lose Origin. They didn't know
Literally.
what it was like to win.
Yeah.
Fuck, that would have been hard.
First world problems.
I reckon I've been, obviously Origin's an easy one, but I have been in some states when Hawthorn are getting like the games where not the close ones because they're so good to watch.
Yeah, you
and
can
the ups and downs of the
really
game, and you might
appreciate it.
lose by a kick. You go, holy fuck, that was a roller coaster. You get angry, but I don't think I've ever been as frustrated is when it looks like the other team has 5 extra cunts out there, and every time there's a contest, the ball fucking dribbles out to them, and they've handball, kick, goal.
Like similar to the way Lions played in the grand final.
Yeah.
It's just been how it was like they
Compared
just had
to the
more
prelim
cunts.
against us, which was I got to step back afterwards and just really appreciate the
Exactly.
game that it was. But if you're a Swans fan,
You'd be angry.
You're fucking hating it.
Like,
It's
honestly,
disgusting.
when you go, righto, we've kicked it forward, next minute, there's 3 of them, 1 of you, they just
Little
handball,
1%ers.
It's crazy.
Just not man marking and laziness around the ball, and just that you can tell there's no fucking true intent.
I need
a game
to
can flip in its head.
Get out of my head when I watch the AFL now. Every single bounce of the ball, I almost tally up in my head and go, well, that could have bounced the other way and went to this bloke. Like, there's just so many, there's 150 moments in a game, I reckon, of AFL, because it's so scrappy sometimes, where one little, like, fumble or the bounce of the ball goes their way,
2010 grand final.
just goes constantly. You just go, there is that many 50-50s where it could go either way, and there's 150 of them a game.
Because there's so many possessions and different,
Yeah.
exactly right.
I need to
A lot
get
of the
out of my
faith
head.
is in the fucking pigskin. Was it, well, it's 2010 grand final with St.
The drawn one, yeah.
The drawn one. That bounced the ball. Who was it?
Stevie Milne.
Stevie Milne,
Yeah,
That,
it literally does a right angle on the cunt.
it was meant to bounce towards a goal. St Kilda fans are standing up, and it fucking bounced completely opposite way.
And they still haven't won since the 60s.
Nah,
And
still
they,
haven't.
They drew one.
And they could have kicked. They should
had
have kicked
it.
a goal
Oh,
earlier,
I'd
but
have heard
Rewalt got.
you know
tackled
who
by
was a
Heath
great?
Shaw.
You know who was a diehard St Kilda fan? SK Warren.
He was. He
Yeah.
played for St Kilda in his early years. I
Yeah,
don't know if
like-
it was actual VFL or what, but
I think he
was
went to.
he played for St Kilda at some
Yeah.
level.
Yeah, he was a diehard.
Fucking nice.
Molly Meldrum, another diehard. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they'll get to see him win one day.
I wouldn't be like fuck.
That was
St
their.
Kilda one. That I hate that.
That was
but-
the window though, when
It
they
was.
had Rewalt, Goddard, fucking
yeah Goddard. That yeah.
Lenny Hayes. Like,
Well, 2009
Unreal.
was a very close game against us, and we got it. And then 2010,
They
they played
drew.
3 grand finals in 2 years. They drew 1 and lost 2.
they reckon that
was their
2010
window.
draw. Obviously, that game they've all laid down at the end, knowing fuck, we got to come back and do this again in a week.
Yeah.
Rather than have extra time, which they have changed now, which is good. But they reckon Collingwood just handled that second week so much better than St Kilda, because Collingwood were almost like, fuck, like, righto, it was a draw. We didn't get there. Let's prepare again. Let's go out and win.
Yep.
St Kilda were like, we've blown it. We should have won.
Yeah.
How did we fuck that up? Blah,
Rewalt
blah,
would have been
blah.
doing circles after the smother from Heath Shaw.
No, that was in the
Well,
replay.
that was the replay, was it?
Heath
Okay.
Shaw, the librarian. Yeah, we didn't really get to the best fights, but there's too many to go through.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's just good just having a little bit of a yarn about a bit of history with it and stuff. And look, I'm sure there's a few dates that we didn't nail, and it would have been good to go through like the best players of each era and all that sort of shit, which can be done at a different time. But we just thought it'd be cool to have a bit of a, I don't know, walk down memory lane with a bit of fucking history with a couple
When you
of
do,
things,
listen, fucking post in the group your favourite
right.
eras. Post your favourite players.
100%.
Anything we've forgotten that's gone over.
At the end of the day, it's your fucking favourite thing, and if someone else doesn't think it's the best, then it's
very subjective.
Exactly. But like you said, Gropes, that's a great call. Put in some of the best moments in your thing, and it might be something you go, that's fucking right. Like shit like
for
Reece
sure.
Wesser for me, when you're talking about fullbacks, because we've had so many great ones, he never gets brought up. But for me,
Yeah.
I remember when he was playing, he was a fucking gun. It's just little shit
some real
like that.
niche players.
Yeah.
We've forgotten.
Yeah,
100%.
Oh, for sure.
No, get amongst it.
One
Like
more
we said,
question.
yeah.
I've got. You talk about like games that you remember the angriest you've been. Who was one player that you hated more than anyone else? Both codes.
Oh, this is easy for me. Gallon are blaming the refs after so many Origin things. And like I said, Gallon, I respect Gallon massively now, especially after what he's done with his boxing thing. As a player, he was hard as fuck, but I could never fucking stand after the games when we lost or something. Smith would just give them full credit and shit. I used to fucking hate it when he'd say, "Oh yeah, a couple of calls sort of went their way." Like he could never just fucking cop it on the chin, and it used to shit me.
And now he just cops him on the chin and walks.
Oh, but like I said,
Yep.
man,
He
he has
puts it
gained
on
my
people's
respect
chin.
massively. If you say otherwise, then it's like, come on,
Yeah,
what are
yeah,
you
yeah.
talking about?
100%.
But in that time, I used to just hate how he could never just fucking cop it. There'd always be some excuse.
And they would have said the
after.
same about us with Cam Smith too.
No, but I reckon Cam was fucking good. Like, mate, he'd always be a lot better than Gallen with fucking giving them credit, even if we were all carrying on like it was.
Gallen also was
think.
very salty because he couldn't win.
Yeah,
Whereas
he
we
lost the
could.
most games ever.
So for me, that was definitely a player that I just couldn't stand hearing talk after games.
I think he's an easy one to go for. Him and Luai and that are easy ones.
I'd put Greg Bird.
Yeah.
Fuck, he infuriated me.
We actually met him.
Mate, he's a good cunt, Bird.
Yeah,
Cannot-
they'd all be good cunts, but on the field, as a
Yeah,
young
yeah.
serial killer, fucking vibe
Groper.
I had about
Yeah.
a young groper. It was the Stewart brothers or probably Greg Bird, Anthony
Yeah.
Watmo. Like those boys really fucking infuriated.
I
me.
reckon
But they
for
were
me,
guns.
in that era where we were so dominant in Origin, David Clemmer and
Yeah.
Aaron Woods.
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, they used to wind me up, man.
Proper.
Like when Clemmer had come on and just grub up the whole time.
And he'd run dead straight, and I just wouldn't figure out why can't these cunts snap him? He's
and then
tucking
when
it
he's,
under.
he
He's
tackles
going
you
dead straight.
and he's fucking doing all this grubby shit, I used to get so wound up. And when Trent Waterhouse fucking came third man in when Steve Price got knocked out.
Oh,
Like, Brett White. I remember
Scum.
Oi, mate,
walking
that
up
was-
to you cunts at school, and you and Kingy eyed me off and were already giggling because we couldn't text each other.
Yeah.
I was fucking chirping from about 200 out because Waterhouse played for Penrith, and I was just unloading on you.
Yeah.
Calling him your mate.
Yeah. But,
Well, he's
oi,
your fucking mate.
that was a great shot from fucking.
It was.
It hurts me.
It was all over before
Yeah.
Waterhouse come in.
Yeah.
But
we had
live,
we had to hold on to something because we got
Live.
knocked out.
live, we were like, because it's so simultaneous.
Yeah.
It's like click, and then Waterhouse tackles him to the ground.
Yeah.
You're going, you fucking dog cunt.
Yeah. The response was even better though. They kicked
Oh,
it
yeah.
down to poor little fucking Kurt Gidley, was it?
Yeah.
And
I think the idea was to give the forwards the ball.
Yeah.
Like just chip it to him.
well,
But
Lockie
he-
had told Smithy to do it, and he just fucking launched
Bomb
it
it
down
up
the
to
fullback.
poor old Gidley.
Hodjo was ready to kill someone,
yeah.
man. He came for blood.
Oi,
Yeah.
just quickly before we wrap it up, who's your personal favourite player ever, just because of your own reasons in both codes?
Lance Franklin. That's
Yep.
an easy one for the AFL. He's the reason I started supporting Hawthorn.
Yep.
Wanted to be him.
Yeah.
I almost did. I was just missing the athletic
You
ability.
just decided to have fun instead.
Yeah. I was just missing the entire athletic ability that he has.
Yeah.
And then in the league, that's tough, eh? Like, I love Darren Lockyer.
Lockie is an obvious one for me. In the
I
league,
really,
yeah.
really did, eh? Like, even all those years where everyone gave him shit for his defence, I just
Include me,
always
man.
backed him. I just
Yeah.
loved him that much.
AFL, I'd probably say Gary Ablett Jr. That was like one of the first ones I really saw, and he was like no other fucking midfielder was.
Yeah.
He changed position too, so that was one. But he fucked off the Gold Coast for a bit. But yeah, I'd say in those younger years it would have to be Cameron Ling or Gary
Because he's
Ablett.
a redhead.
Because he's a big redhead.
He's a little
And he would
redhead.
just tag cunts and he would just suffocate them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to what's the fucking word?
Pinpoint?
Pinpoint anything with AFL because I haven't watched enough
Yeah,
of it,
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of thing. But JT for me, man, in
Mark
NRL.
Rasciuto.
Right, there
For
you
you
go.
in the
Yeah, for
AFL,
sure.
yeah,
or
he's me.
McLeod.
Yeah.
But yeah, JT. I just, and people's arguments are why Johns was better. I hear ya.
Yeah.
It's just for me personally, and when I started getting engulfed in rugby league, what he did through the Origin in key moments, he is just the GOAT for me because I just love the cunt.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and that was
You don't even have to explain it with him.
Another one as well. Obviously, JT.
Just his fucking will to win.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
never
yeah.
give up and busted. That shoulder and he still played through and got us the win
2017.
to then get us through to game 3. That for me is an iconic moment
He
and
knew.
showing who he was.
Yeah.
He knew I got one in me here.
Yeah.
I got one game in
And
me.
I just got goosebumps.
and
like
we
that.
have to win game
was
2, so I'm
Herculean.
going to play.
Yeah.
And Gus Gould in commentary says, what was Daryl Halligan, was it? One of the best goal kickers ever.
Yeah.
They asked him once, who would you have, if you had someone kick for your life, who would you have kick for your life? And he said Jonathan Thurston, not Hazem El Masri or fucking any of these guys. He said his technique and the way he kicks it is not perfect at all, but he just wills them over.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I just love the bloke.
He just wills them over.
If you told JT, kick this, he might miss it. But if you said, my life depends on it, he'd go, okay, mate, well, I'll save you.
Yeah. I just wish in that 2015 grand final, as heartbreaking as it was for Brisbane fans, I just wish he kicked it from the sideline.
Yeah, just to
Like, that would have just been epic. If it's like, right, you can win the game. First premiership for the Cows.
and then
he
Ben
hits
Hunt
the
doesn't
post.
have to
And
live with
exactly,
that for the rest of his
exactly.
life.
I just wish he kicked it from the sideline
It's like
because
numb
then it was
flashbacks.
like, dropped it, field goal. It was like,
But
a
he
bit-
kicked that too.
Yeah, I know, but it was a bit like,
Yeah, I know, man.
would have been so anticlimactic.
Just cleaner.
Yeah. Anyway,
Good stuff.
Awesome.
Well, hope we dribbled and kept you a bit entertained there, Reggies. Like we said, you'll be right in the guts of silly season. I hope you're having a ripper one. Hope you're having a safe one.
Yep.
And we'll see you back next year. You'll hear another one from us before then.
yeah. Well, we don't know what order we're going to release these, but yeah,
You'll fucking
we'll be
hear 'em
back
when you hear 'em.
We'll be back on the 8th of January for our normal weekly shows. And
Yep.
until then, keep ripping in silly season, and
Stay safe.
get into it.